Who is this irresistible creature who has an insatiable love for the dead?
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's a devil and gets scared.
Stop the prime time, bitch!
Gail's not here!
I'm not interrupting anything, am I? You three look deep in thought.
I said talk to me, damn it, or else I'm gonna throw you in the fire!
You stupid bitch! You filthy slut!
One ugly motherfucker.
In the 80s, kids went missing. The police searched Freddy's top to bottom.
Hello?
They never found them. That's why the place shut down.
There are ghost children possessing giant robots. Thanks for the heads up.
Technically, they're animatronics.
Welcome back to year 2 of Nerd Nation's Halloween Spectacular. Tonight we're going to be talking about Five Nights at Freddy's. Fair warning, this review will contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen Five Nights at Freddy's yet and want to, go watch it and then come back to this video. Since Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is releasing this December, and since I've got a few requests from friends to review this movie, I thought what better time to review this movie than during spooky season. In full transparency, I'm not too familiar with the Five Nights at Freddy's games. I know some of the plot beats of the games, but I've personally never played any of them. But as far as this first movie goes, I think it's okay. It's pretty enjoyable, but it does have a few issues. I think the best part of this movie is the animatronics. They look incredible and the practical effects on them are awesome. I really think they killed it in the animatronics department. I also think the cast in this movie is really good. Josh Hutcherson is a really good actor and he's great in the role of Mike. Elizabeth Layla is also really good. She was excellent in the show You, and so seeing her in a big IP like this is really cool. Matthew Lillard is probably my favorite of the cast. He's not in the movie that much, but for the scenes he's in, he's great. He's really good at being funny and creepy in his scenes. Go figure, the guy who played Schumacher can turn in a great creepy villain performance. I also like the cameos in this movie. Even if I'm not too familiar with the Five Nights at Freddy's games, I do know the YouTubers that play them. So it was really cool to see people like Matt Pat and Corey X Kenshin in this film. I remember seeing this in theaters with my friends, and we all lost our minds when we saw Matt Pat on the big screen. We had no idea it was coming. It made for a really cool theater experience, and I hope they add some more cameos in the second movie. I heard that Markiplier was supposed to be in this movie as the security guard in the opening, but couldn't because of scheduling conflicts, so I hope that they have him in the second movie. I also really like the vibes of this movie. The movie has this really vintage, nostalgic look to it that I really like. Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria is something straight out of the 80s, with vibrant animatronics and these old VHS tapes. It really contrasts well with the 2000s setting where everything outside of the pizzeria feels dimly lit and run down. There's something about this movie that just feels really warm and inviting despite being a horror movie. The story is serviceable enough, but it's definitely one of the weaker aspects of the movie. I like Mike as a character, and it makes sense why he decides to work at this abandoned pizzeria. He has a little sister he needs to care for, and if he doesn't keep a job, then she's going to get sent away with her aunt, who is a really horrible person. It gives him a reason to be there, and it doesn't feel like he's just an idiot who ignores all the danger signs. It feels like he has to be here. I also like how he ties into the main villain of this movie, William Afton. His brother was abducted and killed by William as a child, so the protagonist and antagonist have a connection that's really strong. So the character writing is really good, but the storytelling is where I think the problems lie. It feels like a lot of the story beats in this movie were rushed. It also feels like they didn't think they were guaranteed a sequel, so they just tried to cram as much Five Nights at Freddy's lore into one movie as possible. And as such, this movie feels overstuffed at times. I think it would have been better if they just saved some of this material for a second movie. But by far my biggest issue with the movie is that it's just not scary. The game franchise has a younger fan base, so obviously this movie was going to be rated PG-13. But honestly, if there wasn't any swearing in the movie, I feel like this could have passed for a PG rating. I'm not saying that a movie has to have a stronger rating to be scary. I mean, Insidious is one of the scariest movies I've personally ever seen, and that movie is rated PG-13. but the scares in this movie are really bad. There are a lot of jump scares, and I really don't think any of them were effective. The movie also cuts away every time something more graphic is about to happen. Again, a movie doesn't have to be gory or violent to be scary, but by cutting away from everything, you don't really get a clear idea of what these animatronics are doing or why we should fear them. Overall, Five Nights at Freddy's is a decent movie. A lot of stuff is rushed, and the movie isn't scary at all. However, the character and cast are pretty strong. The movie has some really good cozy vibes, and the animatronics are really impressive. I'm going to give Five Nights at Freddy's a 6 out of 10. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Make sure to stay tuned for the last 2 weeks of October because we're going to be talking about some classic horror movies and even some new releases such as Black Phone 2 and Shelby Oaks. With that said, I'll see you guys in the next video.